Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our Virtual Senior Sendoff. My name is Matt Van Winkle, Visual Content Specialist here at the ISU Alumni Association.
And my name is Mary Kate Mishak, and I am the Manager of Student Programs and the Advisor of the Student Alumni Leadership Council. So today is the last full day of events as part of your senior week, class of 2021. So welcome to Senior Sendoff, where we here at the Iowa State Alumni Association get to welcome you to the after party that is alumni life.
And Mary Kate, I'm curious, we see people hopping on here. Hello to everyone watching live with us and watching on the replay as well. We know people will be watching afterwards, but we're curious who's watching online live with us tonight. Tell us in the comments what your degree you're going to be graduating with in a couple of weeks. So tell us, what your major is. We just want to know everything about you. Tell us a little bit about, maybe tell us your favorite memory from your time at Iowa State as well. We just want to hear whatever you guys have to say. Leave those in the chat or the comments as well. So let us know. Again, tell us what your degree is. We're curious to see who's on with us tonight.
That's right.
All right, so what we'll do too is when people start commenting, we'll pop those up on the screen throughout the night. So if you look for your comment, we'll pop those out here throughout the next hour or so.
Absolutely. So Matt, we have tons of prizes to give out tonight throughout the event. So we can start with the first one if you're ready. So
I'm
these
ready.
3 winners will get a $50 Amazon gift card.
All right, so let's pop up our first winner. Congratulations to Abigail Scram, Huang Dang, and Ava Frazee. You are our winner of our first gift cards, $50 to Amazon. So congratulations to you 3. Very exciting. We're going to be giving away a lot of prizes throughout the next hour, Mary Kate.
That's right, we are.
All right. Well, now let's get this party started with some big alumni energy with our first special guest of the evening, the Laura and Russ Talbot Endowed President and CEO of the ISU Alumni Association. He is Mr. Jeff Johnson. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
I'm doing great, Matt, but this Mr. has got to go. Just Jeff Johnson. And I've already opened up my sangria that was in, did you call this the viewing box?
The Senior Sendoff viewing box. That's
Senior Sendoff. So if you're out there and you've got your box, you probably have already done your 2 beverages. You've got your mug. Bring that along as well. But let's have fun tonight. Get ready for finals in a few days. But this is a night for us to meet you, say congratulations to you, and more importantly, to thank you for choosing Iowa State University and finishing what you started. Mary Kate, this idea of saying welcome to the after party is really an incredible way to think about this. So on behalf of Cyclones everywhere, I want to welcome you to the Iowa State University alumni family. If this is not your first degree from Iowa State, many of you already know what it's like to be an alum of Iowa State. But if this is your first degree from the institution, you're about to find that we have graduates of this institution who literally live everywhere. They're in all 99 counties of Iowa, 152 countries, and more importantly, they're all across the U.S. So you're going to soon find that Cyclones truly are everywhere. And these Iowa Staters are just as proud of you as we are, and they're ready to meet the class of 2021. And like you, they too enjoyed and made the best of their Iowa State adventure. And I know for many of you, COVID has tried to rob you of some of your experiences, but you have shown that you can stand up to challenges and you have persevered. And what's most important, in just a few days, you will walk away from this university with a degree. And that will be something that can never be taken away from you. But I want you to remember, it also sends a very important message. You are now a Cyclone for life. Yes, a Cyclone for life. So again, congratulations. I want you to also tonight begin to think about how you flip that page to being an Iowa State alum. And remember this first, the Alumni Association is here to help you, not to badger you. So whatever you've been thinking about the Alumni Association, please use us as a resource. There are countless services and opportunities that we will present to you. So we are going to write to you. We are going to send you information, and we're even going to ask you to join the association. But we invite you first and foremost, be active wherever you are. Because as I've said, there are other Cyclones who will probably be at the place where you're going to go to work, back to the community that you moved to, or in that new community that you moved to. So we want to ask you to follow us on social media. Become familiar with all the different ways that Cyclones get together in their community.
Matt, you might be on mute.
And I'm on mute, so I think we're having just a little technical difficulty with Jeff. So Mary Kate, why don't you maybe, do you want to do our next prize really quickly, and I'll go help Jeff out? Okay.
Yep. So our next prize, we have 3 winners that are going to receive a $50 Target gift card. So congratulations to Elizabeth Godwin, Eric Marcanillo, and Kristen Hunk. So we'll get in touch with you really soon about your $50 Target gift card.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me, Mary Kate?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're working on getting Jeff back on. I apologize to everyone watching. Obviously, you know, as Zoom goes, you've probably been on your virtual classes, and that tends to happen. You lose your internet connection, something happens, and but we'll move on. So I think what we'll do now, Mary Kate, is should we go ahead and bring on our special guest of the evening?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. Well, we've got Kelsey C. here. Kelsey, why don't you bring you on screen here? Hey, Kelsey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for joining us. So Kelsey, we'll bring your banner up real quickly. So Kelsey is the Associate Director of the Iowa Brewers Guild. And obviously you guys got all of your beautiful boxes with your drinks. And Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you do with the Iowa Brewers Guild. We've got our Torrent Brew and our Jasper Winery Brew. So we're gonna be drinking through these while you do your presentation. So tell us a little bit about what you do with the Iowa Brewers Guild.
I don't have Torrent right now, but I do have.
That's okay.
Beverage, Collapse of the Multiverse right now. So a little bit of background on me. I graduated from Iowa State in December of 2011. I was a studio arts major in woodworking and metalworking, which I do on the side. It is not something that I am doing currently. Actually, the boring side of my job is I am an association management, but the cool side of my job is it's for brewers. So I work for the Iowa Brewers Guild. Every state has a guild in some capacity, and that may be just volunteer board. It may be, 1, 2, 3 paid staff. And a lot of them kind of function a little bit differently. So associations, if you're not familiar with them, have a tendency to gear towards a certain industry or a certain type of work. So for us, we're the commercial brewers. And we try to provide a lot of things for our members. So we provide kind of like the Alumni Association here. So we provide some educational experience. We do a conference every year. It has morphed from, half a day to a 2-day full-blown grown-up conference, basically. We do a couple of other educational activities throughout the year, just depending. We do things like off-flavor tastings for brewers, so they get familiar with things that could happen in the brewing process and how to fix those or how to combat them from happening altogether. We also do some line cleaning workshops. A lot of them end up cleaning lines at different bar locations and kind of figuring out how that process works for them, especially if they are self-distroing and, have short staff or, don't have the resources necessarily to do so, and, what that looks like. We also do some promotional stuff. So we put on the Iowa Craft Brew Festival in Des Moines every year. And then we do things like the beer trails maps. You might see some probably at Torrent or at Alluvial in you guys' area that have these maps that kind of show you where all the breweries are. You can get them stamped off and, get something for doing that. So all of that is kind of promotional stuff that we do to showcase those Iowa breweries. We also work with the Iowa Wine and Beer Promotion Board to do that as well. And then the last part of that is legislative things. So we work, especially locally, especially statewide, but I have been to DC to do lobbying on behalf of the brewing industry as a whole in the nation, as opposed to this just Iowa in particular. And we try to make sure that those things that are being passed are something that is either going to be directly helpful to our brewers or at least not unhelpful to our brewers. So most associations, you'll see Restaurant Association, things like that, they're all going to do kind of the same thing. With the state ones, like I said, we kind of all do different things. Some are more event-based, and some of them, like us, we kind of try to balance the line in between all three of those. The thing that I really wanted to talk to you guys about tonight is kind of graduating to better booze. Basically kind of trying to find your voice, find things that you like, find a way to express that and understand that and explore outside of the box. Obviously, I graduated from Iowa State. I am a big fan of minnow farmers, and I will have one every time I'm in Ames. But being able to figure out what I like, figure out, how I function in this hospitality world has been a really big help, and I kind of wish that I had done it sooner, to be honest. I am a huge proponent for local, drink local, eat local, everything local. Obviously, because I work for especially the Iowa brewers in particular, being able to say, hey, I'm going to go visit somewhere, and I'm going to look at local breweries, local wineries, local distilleries, and local eateries, and kind of experience that, and being able to say, here's why I like hazy IPAs, or here's why I like Pilsners. So just kind of wanting to talk to you guys about that, wanting to give you some vocabulary going out into the world, and also answer a lot of questions. I do a lot of 101 kind of talks, and I find a lot of questions at the end, and no question is a stupid question. I feel like at the very end, I usually get these questions that people weren't ready to ask because they didn't think that they would sound smart. It's like, you're just trying to figure out what you like. It's not a big deal, and there's no stupid question for that. So yes, please leave your questions in the chat for me, because those, I think, are some of the best discussions. A little bit about my journey. I love the hospitality industry. I love working with restaurants and bars and, those local owners, because a lot of times those guys are going to be the ones that see a lot of the community and know a lot about the community as well, and kind of making sure that I don't want to say that they're good stewards for things like that, but making sure that, being able to foster those connections. So when I first came back to Iowa, I actually graduated Iowa State, moved up to Minnesota for about a year and a half, and then moved to Illinois for about a year. And my husband and I, every time we came back to visit my parents, were like, I kind of miss Iowa. So ended up coming back to Iowa and started working at Gateway Market in Des Moines. So Gateway Market is going to be a place that is a little bit more niche-y food. I learned a lot about cheese there, a lot about wine and beer as well, but I learned a lot about cheese, and what I liked and what I didn't like. And I found that being able to express that made me feel so empowered. When I was going out to eat, or when I was going, anywhere, being able to have those vocabulary and have those things to explain how I felt about something without saying like I like it or I don't like it. And it helps in a lot of other ways. It helped not just because like I want to talk about food, but it helped me be able to say, here's what I like, here's how I express myself, and here's how I, talk about the things that I like. So that's kind of where we're going. Talking about craft beer first. Craft beer, wine, and then distilling is the space that I don't have quite as much experience in. But craft beer, I live, breathe, sleep, eat, drink craft beer. And talking about these guys are my friends for the most part. Like for the first and foremost, they're my friends. They're obviously my association members, but they're my friends. They're small businesses. I root for them. I know you guys have run into a lot of issues, resulting from having to go virtual and having to, kind of restructure how you do things. And that has been a huge thing in the hospitality industry, and it's still going on right now too. But these guys kind of finding out how to restructure how they do things and do virtual happy hours, and how do we reach our customers? They've been really, really fun to watch how they respond to that. I don't mean that in like a bad way at all. I just have been really proud of them more than anything else. For me, finding craft beer and finding a love for something that I want to learn about, I think that's maybe the biggest takeaway. Even if you don't like beer, you don't like wine, or you don't like, whatever, finding something that you're passionate about, that you want to learn about, that isn't necessarily your degree. I mean, obviously woodworking and metalworking, this really doesn't fit in there. But finding something that you're passionate about, and finding something that you can learn about and kind of take the onus on yourself to continue learning. And that's something that I think that a lot of people don't realize, maybe for a couple of years, that it is great to continue learning. For me, I don't think I'll ever be a professional brewer, but I did kind of get bit by the homebrew bug starting off, and this is before even this job that I have. But learning all of those things, like how the different flavors work together, scientifically how things are going, which I'm still not great at. I'm an art person, not a science person. But we have so many brewers that have come from jobs where either, they graduated with a science degree, or they graduated with a business degree, and somehow they have found their way into this profession because it makes the most sense, and it's something that they enjoy, while also being able to use, that degree that they walked away with. And I think that that's the same thing for me. I mean, art, I see craft beverage a lot as art, craft cocktails in particular, and craft beer and craft wine, and distilling is becoming like a really cool thing. And being able to experiment and kind of work through that is really fun. So, while I've kind of word vomited here, does anyone have any questions right now for me? I would love to start talking about, how do you find what you like, or, how do you express this thing that you enjoy, but you don't like this. For me in particular, I wish when I was at Iowa State that we had the abundance of craft breweries that we have now. For you guys are drinking something from Torrent. Torrent is actually just down that, down the strip. I can't remember what street they're on.
I'm trying to remember. It said right on their can. Let me try and find it. I want to say, is it Burnett? Yes, Burnett. Yes, so kind of in that downtown Main Street area.
Like, yeah. It's like a block off of Main Street there.
So I just opened the Torrent Ames Light up. It's only 3.5%, which is really low for a beer.
That's a huge thing now too.
Yeah, craft beer. It's really good. And I mean, I know when I was just getting out of college, I was not into IPAs. I hated the taste of them, but something like this is a really good like intro beer to get somebody started maybe into craft beer if they're not into that. But this is really good. It's really smooth. Something I think that would be easy for people to kind of transition into, right?
A lot of breweries in Iowa have that transition beer, basically. And it's interesting because I still really fall back on a lot of those kind of premium styles, but done in craft beer. If I'm mowing the lawn or I'm doing something that like hot, sweaty, gross, I will fall back on a light Pilsner. I'll fall back on a premium style, but done by a craft brewery, because they are very easy drinking. That's why a lot of people drink them. So with our breweries here in Iowa, it's some of them are in Des Moines. You know, some of them are in Cedar Rapids, some of them are in Iowa City, those kind of bigger areas. But there are a lot of breweries that are in smaller areas. And so they are wanting to, they want to make these really cool beers. They want to make stuff that's kind of different and unique, but they also most of the time have some sort of Pilsner, they have some sort of light lager, or they have like an amber, things like that that are wheat that are easier to transition into if you're used to drinking Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, things like that. Going to a stout is going to be kind of a shell shock. It's heavier, it's fuller, it's richer, it's more bitter. So finding those kind of middle grounds for me, the thing I really like to talk about at Gateway Market when I was selling wine and beer, was trying to get. It was almost a game to me at that point in time to try to get a beer drinker to try a wine because they trusted me, or a wine drinker to like, come on, just try this beer. Just give me a chance. Like I said, I kind of found it a challenge that I really enjoyed. And so finding those things that kind of lead you along your path. If you're coming from, kind of fruitier cocktail drinks, if you're coming from lighter beers, things like that, you're not going to want something that's going to be like so bitter it's just going to knock you in your face. Like you said, Matt, IPAs have a tendency to be a little bit bitter. Not all of them, but a lot of times if you're just going to pick one up off the shelf, it's going to be a lot more bitter than you expect. And so finding those things that will transition you towards that and say, oh, I understand that this is not a bad flavor. This is why it tastes like this. People give Psalms kind of a like snobby, weird name, because they're like, well, I can tell that this was a grape from, this is made from this grape from this region, and this is the soil. And yeah, it is kind of like pretentious, but it also is 100% valid. And in beer, people don't necessarily think of that as much, but I mean, you're looking at different hop profiles. They're the same kind of thing as grape. They're a specific plant, but there's a lot of different varieties in there. There's a lot of different places that they can be grown, and those soils are going to make a difference. And coming from, the Midwest, coming from Iowa State, places that do have agriculture programs, understanding that I think is a little bit easier, and understanding that where the thing comes from that I am consuming or drinking, eating, is just as important as what I am, drinking, eating, consuming in whatever manner. So that Ames Light Lager, I actually have not had a chance to have it yet, and I'm actually really excited to do so. I love the guys up at Torrent. I've been friends with them for quite a while. I've been with the Iowa Brewers Guild for just under 4 years here. So I haven't been to every single brewery in the state, but I have gotten to most of them at some point in time in my tenure. The whole idea was to try to get to them like once a year, and obviously last year kind of ran that off the rails.
This would be a really good one at a tailgate. I'm not kidding you. Like, this is a great light drinking beer, because when you think about craft beer again, it's like you can't drink 7-8 bottles of an IPA at, in one sitting. I mean, some people I guess could, but it wouldn't be enjoyable at a tailgate. But this is great. I mean, it's very light. It's got a nice, really light hop taste to it, but it's not too much. This is great. I love this. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it too.
One thing you talked about was the ABV on that, and talking about like trends in the industry. If you really want to get that deep and kind of nerdy, trends in the industry, as a whole, but especially craft beer and kind of looking towards cocktails as well and cocktail lists, is lower ABV. People are looking for something that they enjoy drinking and they enjoy either like the story of or, flavor profile, etc. But you don't have to drink a bunch and like get really trashed. It's more, I want to drink this because I enjoy it. So you are seeing a lot of lower ABV. You're seeing a lot of seltzers. Seltzers is kind of like the big new thing right now. And a lot of breweries are finally being able to do that. For example, with our legislative stuff, before last, I can't remember what month, but before last year, a native brewery, there are 2 different brewery licenses in Iowa. A native brewery couldn't do a seltzer because they would need to have some sort of liquor on their premises, and that's something that they couldn't do. So that's something that the guild, helps with, is like, hey, this is kind of weird and it's probably not intentional, but like, this is what we can't do and this is what we would like to do. How do we make that work? And a lot of times when you talk to legislators, they're like, oh, I didn't know that you couldn't do that. So that's something that we like to do. I kind of like to say that the Iowa kind of liquor code is like, duct taped together at some point in time. You kind of tack something on here and tack something on there, because sometimes you don't think about that, or it's something that has emerged like a seltzer that wasn't a problem up until now. So.
Yeah, and the other one we got in our box here, obviously, is the canned wine. I know a lot of people probably laugh at a canned wine when they see that, but this sangria from Jasper Winery is really tasty. We did a virtual wine tasting a few months back, and this was one of the favorites among the group. I mean, this is a great summer drink, really refreshing if you keep it nice and cool. Yeah, this is something cool that Jasper Winery does. Have you seen a lot of wineries doing cans, or is this something kind of unique that you've seen?
Can in general is like a big thing. So it's funny because then we talk about, the pandemic and kind of weird ramifications that have happened during this year. Can shortage is a thing that has happened. And I had a lot of breweries that, kind of had a while there where they were scrambling to get cans, but they also needed to get beer out the door because their tap rooms were closed or at lower capacity or things like that. But I have seen a lot of wineries doing that too. And actually, usually they're kind of branded as like the cool wineries. I'm actually part of a can club out of California. And I love their bottled wine, but their can club kind of gives them a way to be a little bit more trendy, experimental. Like they had one that was like a Zinfandel that was co-fermented with stout wort, and it was really cool. But I wouldn't necessarily pick up a bottle of that. But a can, I'd absolutely pick up. It's basically like a glass and a half, 2 glasses, something like that. I would absolutely pick that up and try that. So that kind of gives wineries who haven't necessarily had that ability or outlet to kind of be creative. Also talking about, that's a wine that's been co-fermented with a beer wort, being able to kind of collaborate in between those things. I pulled up, I'm in Valley Junction, and the foundry is right next, a couple blocks away from me, right next to the Valley Junction Main Street area. And they have been doing a Brewer Distiller Alliance program. So they've actually been taking different beer mashes and then distilling them down into a whiskey. So they just had, I have it here somewhere, like the Arrogant Bastard. So Arrogant Bastard Ale, which has been around for a while. They actually did that with that. They've done a Boulevard one, and then they've started doing Iowa breweries, which is the thing that I'm very excited about. I think they just released Peachtree. I can't remember if Confluence. There's a couple of different Iowa breweries that are coming up down the line. I don't want to like ruin any surprises for anybody either. But looking at those kinds of integrations, you've got wineries that are working with, different barrels that breweries have used or barrels that distilleries have used. And that is something that I really enjoy. And it's very like, commune kind of love your neighbor. And some states don't necessarily have that. Some states do have a little bit of kind of a divide between all of those. And I'm really glad that Iowa doesn't, to be honest.
Yeah. Kelsey, I don't know if you have heard about this, but I know there's a new, Iowa State is actually starting to do some wine themselves. They have a winery that's starting up here. And I think a lot of people don't really think of growing grapes here in Iowa when it gets so cold in the winter, but speak to a little bit about the type of grapes and the type of wine that is actually produced here in the state. I know a lot of the wineries here maybe get their grapes shipped out from like California, but the types of grapes that are able to grow here, what have you seen from the wineries here that's a little bit different or a little unique to Iowa?
So I am a first level somm, and a lot of people kind of discount Iowa, and I totally don't. I'm absolutely a champion for it, so I love this question. I actually did help judge the Governor's Cup just, what is that, about a month ago. Normally it's the commercial wine competition for the Iowa State Fair, and it just kind of kept getting pushed off for last year. So we just finally did the 2020 commercial wine competition. And actually it's really cool for me. When I was at Gateway Market, I sold everything under the sun: Spanish, French, California, Portuguese, all of that stuff. And I really liked taking my customers who, you know, I had a really good idea of what they liked, and they were definitely set in that like either old world or, you know, they had the things that they liked. And I always really liked being like, hey, trust me for this time. Just trust me. And if not, like, I don't know, I'll buy your wine the next time. Just trust me. And I would take them over to an Iowa wine, and I'd a lot of times get a really weird look. Iowa wines it's really interesting because you're like the Midwest has great, you know, great soil, great growing conditions. You want grapes to suffer. And so that's actually really hard here in the Midwest in particular. So the University of Minnesota has done a lot of different clones that work really well in the Midwest, you know, that are kind of trying to find that balance between a food grape and a wine grape. For me, favorite varietals that are going to be Iowa varietals are going to be ones that are either grown here by the winery itself, or, you know, bought but still grown here, and are Chambourcin. I love Chambourcin. It reminds me a lot of Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is kind of like the entry red wine, but I think it's done really well. And I think if it's done really well, it's very pretty, and actually commands a very large price from some different areas in France as well. But Chambourcin reminds me a lot of that Pinot Noir. It's very light. You still get some earthy tones, but you also get some like bright red fruit out of it. Seyval Blanc, really bright, fresh, crisp, clean. A lot of people, you know, their gateway wine for whites is going to be like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, where it's very grapefruity and citrusy and fresh. This is kind of a little bit less so than that, but it's still very like clean and crisp and fresh, without so much of the grapefruit. It has a little bit, but kind of taking those wines that, okay, so I picked up this wine at the store. Here's what I liked about it. I'm going to find grape varietals that have those same maybe flavor profiles or flavor characteristics, and I'm going to try that wine. And that's the thing that I really want to like encourage you guys to do. It's something that I lost, I feel like 10 years of my life, where I didn't do that and kind of stuck in my ways and did the thing and drank the things. And it's, the sooner you can do that, the sooner you're going to be really happy with what you drink. You're not just going to go to a restaurant and be like, I guess there's a Pinot Grigio on there, I'll drink it. But you can say, okay, well, I like Pinot Grigio. I don't think I like this one, or I don't see a Pinot Grigio, but I know that these are other varietals that I like, so I'm going to look for those. Or I'm going to ask the server and say, this is what I like. What would you suggest? And that, for me, a lot of that is like going to the restaurants that have those servers that are passionate and that are knowledgeable and do enjoy drinking and talking about these things. Places like the Cheese Bar and the Cheese Shop here in Des Moines, I absolutely love those guys. I love talking about wine, beer, cheese, etc., because they totally nerd out and it's lovely. You know, going to places like the cafe. I actually worked at the cafe for a little bit, so a plug there. But those guys know what they're talking about. They have these things and they're able to say, here's the food and here's the wine and here's how they pair. And I really like that. That's a thing that I kind of nerd out about. And enjoying things like that, even though I'm not like cooking at home a 3-course meal or whatever every night and drinking wine with it. But like being able to do that is very fulfilling to me.
Kelsey, my question was about distilleries in the area. So hearing distillery, maybe I wouldn't know what that necessarily meant or what all that entailed, what I should be looking to try while I'm there.
Yeah. So distilleries are kind of all over the board. And like I said, that's kind of like the weakest of the 3 links for me. It's something that I very much enjoy. I just don't always have the knowledge to back, what I'm learning about or what I'm talking about. But the thing with a lot of these places, and maybe it's a little bit more recent than like when I graduated, but going into a place and saying, hey, I want to try these things that you have. Breweries have their flagship beers, wineries have, the wines that they always make, and then they might have some specialty stuff. Going into somewhere like the Foundry and saying, hey, I like these kinds of drinks. What are the liquors in there if you don't know that? And can I try them? And a lot of times, especially at those places that are going to have those samples readily available for you, that bartender, beer tender, whatever, is going to be able to talk to you about them. Or going on tours. I know I keep I'm not being paid by the Foundry at all. They're just right next door to me. They do tours. So going to a place and seeing if you can get a tour, seeing if you can try some different things. Breweries absolutely love to have you sample stuff. Wineries absolutely love to have you sample stuff. And they don't want you to have something that you don't like. So if you don't like something, don't feel hesitant or weird about saying, hey, I don't like this, and here's why. I don't like grapefruit. I don't like that it's so sweet. Being able to have those conversations, will help you not just in beer, wine, food, spirits, but being able to have those conversations in your life in general will help you. Let me get very, very deep.
Awesome. Well, Kelsey, that was a great information. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of that with us. I'm really excited to keep drinking more of my beer, my Torrent, and my Jasper winery. So thanks again, and thanks for being a great representation of Iowa State and as an alumni and the work that you're doing with the Iowa Brewers Guild as well.
Absolutely.
Kelsey.
All right. Well, that was Kelsey Say. She is with the Iowa Brewers Guild. I think I pronounced her last name wrong, and I apologize to Kelsey because I knew I was going to do that. But Kelsey, thank you so much again for coming on. And we also want to thank our other partners as well. We've got Almost Famous Popcorn, right, Mary Kate? Do you have your popcorn with you as well? Nice. What did you get?
Snickerdoodle.
Ooh, Snickerdoodle. You knew exactly the kind that I liked. I like the caramel cheddar mix. This is my favorite. The Chicago mix is what I call it. But also thank you to Insomnia Cookies. I've got my cookie as well. Thank you so much to Insomnia as well. And again, Jasper Winery and Torrent for supplying the drinks for tonight. Hope you guys are enjoying your drinks as well. Jeff, I saw you sipping on yours as well.
I've got it going. This sangria is absolutely wonderful. And after a
really
long
good
day, 5 o'clock, it was worth popping.
Yeah, it's really good. We tried this one at our virtual wine tasting that Jasper Winery hosted with us, and this is definitely my favorite. I've had this.
This is wonderful. I can see this after finishing a lawnmower. After I finish lawn mowing, this would be a nice one to cool off with.
On a hot day. Absolutely. Well, Jeff, we lost your connection there earlier, but looks like we got you back. So we want to let you keep explaining to our seniors a little bit about membership and joining the after party, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be real brief here because I don't know what we missed and what was heard. But clearly, as I've said, you're going to transition from your student adventure to your alumni adventure. And we want you to see it just that way. Alumni are not people to be afraid of. I often say that your students are generally just alumni in residence, and alumni are simply former students. And once you graduate, you're going to realize how much you enjoyed your student days. And alums are just absolutely incredible. They've been supportive of you, whether it's been through scholarships, helping build facilities on campus. They come back, they volunteer, they mentor, they go to classrooms, but they also do things in their community to make sure that Iowa State is not just here in Ames, Iowa. that is wherever alumni are. And so again, as I've said, we're in all 99 counties of Iowa. You will find that there are alumni in all 50 states, and you'll find that we're in 152 countries. And so let me just say a couple of things again. Get involved in your local alumni club. If you want to find those clubs, you can find those on our website, which is isualum.org. You'll also have access to the alumni app, and that app has all of our alumni clubs listed on it. We want you to connect with us through social media, and that is at ISU Alum. Don't want you to feel like you have to remember all of this, because there's a postcard that we included in your viewer's box, and there will be something in your diploma cover when you graduate. But the most important thing is utilize these virtual tools to figure out how to connect. Again, our board has voted that your membership will not be $57 a year. It will only be $30 per year. And if you want to test us, we also provide a free 6-month digital membership that you have the ability to download to your phone. So I encourage you again to look for all those ways that you can keep connected to Iowa State, and don't leave Ames thinking that you're leaving the institution. In closing, I want to encourage you as well that on that app will be the opportunity to use our online alumni directory. The joy of that directory is that if you're going to, say, San Francisco, and you're going to work for DuPont, you can put in DuPont San Francisco, and it'll bring up every graduate of Iowa State who works for DuPont in San Francisco. If you're going to be in Chicago and you're working for an architecture firm, or you're working for an engineering firm, you can put the name of that company in and put in Chicago. You know the zip code, put the zip code in, and it'll tell you every graduate of Iowa State that works for that company. There's just a wealth of local and national discounts. We're also about coming together and saving you money. There's also the opportunity to continue to buy the latest Cyclone apparel through the online alumni store. As a member of the association, you will always get a 15% discount on whatever it is that you purchase. So again, pay attention to those things. For $30, you get to save a lot of money. You get access to a heck of a lot of information, and you have direct access to alumni who live in the communities that you'll be living in. I'm going to end by saying that we're going to be inviting you back to campus again for football games, for homecoming. When you're here, come by the Alumni Center. If you've never been in this facility, it's an absolutely gorgeous place. Clean, beautiful bathrooms, great meeting facilities. If you're planning a wedding and are looking for a wedding venue, rehearsal dinner, this facility can be rented out for any and all of those opportunities. But anytime you're back on campus, this truly is your home away from home. It's your alumni center. It's your alumni house. Consider this what I would call the grown-up memorial union. So have the opportunity, come see us, stay in touch, and wherever you are, go Cyclones. See you, and thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, Jeff. Really, you said it so well. This really is a great place, especially on football games, to gather with those former classmates and just meeting new alumni as well. It really is a nice place for that. And thanks for your words, Jeff. Really appreciate you coming on.
You
Thanks,
bet.
Jeff.
All
Cheers.
Right. Cheers. Yeah, that's right. I'll cheers you to some sangria. There we go. Awesome. Well, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. Mary Kay, I know we've got some more prizes to give away, so why don't we do that? All right. Do you want to announce our next winner?
Yes. So the next lucky winners, I believe, are winning a $50 Visa gift card. So that's for Michaela Fine and Lisa Dazzle. So we'll get in touch with you soon about receiving your prize. And you know what? While we're at it, let's do one more round of prizes, Matt. So the next seniors are winning a $50 Walmart gift card. So congratulations, Catherine Maxwell and Jared Brevard.
Congratulations, Catherine and Jared. Very cool. Walmart gift card coming your way. All right. Well, anyone who grabbed a box from the Alumni Center parking lot this week received a postcard. We'll pop that up on screen. Looked a little bit like this, explaining some of those ways Jeff mentioned you can stay connected to Iowa State even after you leave Ames, right, Mary Kate?
That's right. So first of all, you can sign up for a new grad membership through the Iowa State Alumni Association. And we work to serve and connect Cyclones everywhere. You can also find a regional club, like Jeff mentioned, near you for game watches and other events in your area with fellow Cyclones. And then you can also become an inside influencer to provide young alumni feedback and receive news first.
You can also plan a post-COVID trip to explore a new part of the world with our traveling Cyclones. They're hosting young alumni-specific trips to places like Dubai and Ireland. Get career counseling with our certified career coach, Amanda Damaris. Our website, isualum.org, is our hub for all of the programs we just mentioned, plus some cool stories about the amazing things Cyclones everywhere are doing. All right, well, we have a couple other really special prizes to wrap up our evening, Mary Kate. So the next two winners are going to receive this awesome set of glass-blown swans made in ISU's own glass-blowing studio, the Gaffers Guild, over at the new Student Innovation Center. So Mary Kate, why don't you tell us who's going to win this pair of glass swans?
Yes, congratulations to Samantha Frantic and Robert Cuban. Those are honestly some of my favorite prizes we give out. They're so beautiful and well done. So
yes, they make great decorations on the desk. They're, I don't know if the picture quite tells you, but they're, they fit in the palm of your hand, I'd say, right? I mean, they're about perfect just to fit there. Maybe a little paperweight and a nice decoration, a nice conversation starter for your office when you graduate as well.
And
I know we've got another big one. Yes. Why don't you announce our next big prize?
Certainly not least, we are partnering with the Gateway Hotel here in Ames to gift one lucky senior a 2-night stay in one of the tower rooms overlooking campus and breakfast for 2 each morning. So Matt, whenever you're ready. Yep. Congratulations to Megan McAllister. We will get in touch with you about that.
Congratulations, Megan. That's awesome. That's an awesome prize. That's the grand prize, right? 2 nights
right.
at the Gateway
Coming back
Hotel.
To campus for free.
Awesome. And breakfast on the Gateway as well. I think the Iowa State restaurant is there. That's a really great spot as well.
It is.
Well, thanks to everyone who tuned in as well. I hope you guys enjoyed your evening. Hope you got your popcorn, your cookies, your beer. Enjoy all of your snacks the rest of the night, your beer. I hope you learned something as well from Kelsey. That was really some really interesting information that she was able to share with us. And hope you guys enjoyed this virtual senior send-off. Thanks to our guests, Jeff, Kelsey, all of you guys for joining us as well and commenting, letting us know your graduation year. I guess we could pop up a couple. Oh, Timmy's got a congratulations to the class of 2021. Thanks so much, Timmy. Got other people sharing their degrees as well, biology, psychology, genetics degrees. So really a wide spectrum of degrees here and people graduating from us here at Iowa State. We love seeing those come in as well. BFA in graphic design, cum laude. Very cool, Barsha. Very cool. So thank you all for tuning in as well. We also want to remind you as well to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube as well. You can find us at ISU Alum or the Iowa State Alumni Association on social media to hear more about our programs and services for Cyclones everywhere. And don't forget, as Jeff mentioned, opt in to your free digital membership and sign up for your Student Life membership to get your huge discount while you still can. All right, I'm gonna bring Jeff on if he's still listening. Jeff, are you with us still?
I'm still here.
So Jeff, I forgot one thing that I wanted to ask you to do, because I know you do this in person with our seniors. You sing the alma mater, right?
Oh, you're gonna. I didn't practice last night.
Well, you know what? I've got the script. I've got the script on screen, so we're going to put it up on screen for you to sing. All right.
Green hills for thy throne, and for crown a golden melody, ringing in the hearts of all who bring thee love and loyalty. Dear alma mater, make our spirits great, true and valiant like the bells of Iowa State. A little bit of cold there, but did the best.
Always so well done.
You worked through it. Awesome. Thanks so much, Jeff. And thanks again to everyone who watched tonight. Congratulations from all of us at the Alumni Association. Congratulations on your graduation. And we hope to see you here at the Alumni Center.
Well, let's cheer them off. Cyclones.
Power.
Cyclones.
Power!
Cyclone!
Power!
Cyclone!
Power!
Power!
All right. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Cheers, class of 2021.
Cheers, you guys.
Love you guys. Stay
Welcome
in
to the
touch.
after party.